My next guest is Shaina Low. She's the Norwegian Refugee Council's communications advisor and joins me live from the Jordanian capital, Amman. Thank you so much for joining us on the program, Shaina. We've heard from Israeli politicians time and time again call for for aid not being allowed into the Gaza Strip. It's been reiterated by the defense minister, Israel Katz, and he's also posted on X telling the world that this is now Israel's policy, that they're not going to allow aid into the Gaza Strip. What's your reaction to that?
Well, already we've seen the devastating impacts of more than 6 weeks of complete siege on Gaza, and we've seen that people are struggling to find food, they are struggling to find clean water, they are struggling to find cooking gas to cook the little food that they have access to. We know that as this continues, the situation will only get more and more dire. The crossings need to be opened immediately, and the international community needs to be pushing for Israel to abide by its obligations under international law and facilitate the entry of humanitarian assistance.
I want to talk a bit about the situation at the little functioning hospitals across the Gaza Strip. Medics say they have absolutely zero resources to tend to their patients. How is this going to exacerbate the situation there?
Well, of course, we're going to see people unnecessarily die due to lack of access to medicines, to surgeries. We already know that people are undergoing surgeries without anesthetic, that key partners have had to suspend their maternal health care programs because of lack of access to medical supplies. These are people who should be saved, could be saved, and will inevitably die because there just is not access to the medical care that they deserve.
You mentioned the international community and the role that they need to play moving forward. What is expected from the international community at this point?
Well, the international community needs to continue to put pressure on Israel, needs to apply more pressure on Israel to open these crossings. Of course, many of these countries that should be doing this work are the ones paying for the aid and assistance that we are trying to get in. Instead of being able to provide life-saving support, these countries are having their aid sit in Egypt or in Jordan or elsewhere, waiting to enter, incurring high costs for storage that should be spent on saving people's lives.
And of course, this is going to have a long-term impact on the population in the Gaza Strip and even beyond. Talk to me a bit about the assessment that the Norwegian Refugee Council is making on that very situation, on the long-term impact that this is going to have on the 2 million people in the Gaza Strip.
Well, we know that everyone in Gaza is traumatized by the last 18 months of hostilities, of bombardment, of loss, of death, of destruction. When we speak to our colleagues now, they sound simply hopeless about the future. They are terrified for their lives. People are not even worried about tomorrow, they're worried about surviving today. And so you can only imagine what that impact will be for generations to come. As Palestinians, we know eventually the hostilities will come to an end, but what state will Palestinians be in to be able to rebuild, to reconstruct, and to have a promising future in Gaza?
Okay, Shaina Low, thank you so much for joining us here on the NewsHour. I appreciate it.
Thank you.